So again, just welcome to our call. Super excited about this topic. It is all things Tower Garden. And I'm excited to introduce to you, if you don't know, Miss Kim Wells. She's a national marketing director on our team. She just does a phenomenal job all the way around. And she has done a great job with Tower Gardens, both herself and just, she's sold a lot of them. She's got very happy customers. She has duplicated that with her team. And so she's going to share with us tonight all about the Tower Garden. So go ahead and take it away, Kim.
All right, thanks, Jennifer. And I've done, some of you may have heard this at boot camp, so it's going to be a shortened version tonight, but I really am excited to get to share with you about Tower Gardens. And I'm going to share my screen here and pull up my PowerPoint. So, but as I'm doing that, there we go. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. Can you see, are you seeing just the one picture?
No, we're seeing the side pictures and the tools down below.
I don't know why that is. Okay, well, I don't know how to change that. Do you know how to change that, Jennifer?
Is that in PowerPoint?
It is in PowerPoint.
Okay, why don't you, does that look like that on your desktop?
You know what? Let me see if I do that.
Maybe even the display settings at the top.
I would probably jump out. Well, maybe. But
Stop share and
yeah,
try
it again. Go into the screen share and then show my screen, the top one.
Wait. Sorry, guys.
Pam, I think you have to shut the tools off on the right-hand side. Did you see that displayed on yours still? Or is it just?
I don't have it displayed on my, like when I pull it up on my computer, it's not displayed.
Well, it should come up on your screen and you should be showing your screen. So
Right.
just.
So where can I change that?
I think it's when you hit share screen, there's usually a couple of different options that you're picking to share. And one of them shows your actual desktop and it will look like whatever you see on your desktop. And then there's another option that shows,
try this.
Try a different.
Okay, how's that?
There you go. That's
there
it.
You go. Thank you, guys. Hey, see, you're gonna laugh because I was gonna lead with I have no green thumb and I can still grow and share Tower Gardens, and you could be a national marketing director and not even know how to get everything shared right on your screen either. So I just gave you a lot of hope right there on you can be successful too. So, let's get into Tower Gardens since I took a couple minutes extra on that. So I apologize, but it is growing season, right? How many of you, raise your hand if you're growing a Tower Garden? All right, and how many of you have sold at least one Tower Garden? And put it in the chat. Put in the chat, yes, I have one. Yes, I've sold one. I wanna see who's out there growing, right? And I'm gonna share with you a little bit about our family's journey with this, because this is how we got started. My kids this is 2012. So when we first got Juice Plus, the Tower Gardens first came to Juice Plus, we've been customers with Juice Plus since 1999. Okay, so when we first introduced the Tower Gardens at a conference, I was a little hesitant because I don't know how to grow. I do not have a green thumb. Not my mom's fault. We had a huge garden growing up, but that wasn't something that I did. And I actually don't like hydroponic tomatoes. And I thought these were going to taste like hydroponic tomatoes. And I thought, ooh, those aren't good. I like homegrown tomatoes. But I was like, okay, you know what? The company's bringing it out. We're going to embrace it. We'll try it. So I purposely had my kids and I, Kristen and Josh, at that point, were 12 and 14, or maybe a little younger, but we put it together and then we planted. And you might laugh now if you've grown on a Tower Garden. I was like, hey, we've got green, this is growing. But if you look, It was kind of scraggly, like these weren't really strong plants, because we had a little learning curve the first summer, is we have too much shade in our backyard. So, you know, you get to learn and adapt with the Tower Gardens. But what it did was it went, as we started growing on it, it went from, oh, this is just a fun little idea to help maybe grow a little produce, to, wow, I've taken my family off the grid really for lettuce and herbs. We rarely buy lettuce and herbs at the grocery store. We grow an inside Tower Garden and I grow an outside one. I'm here in Kansas City. So outside we can grow usually from May through October-ish. But then we grow an inside one 365 days a year. So I'm telling you what, if you feel like, oh, I can't grow, it's too much work, super easy. We're not going to cover tonight like how to grow on them. But if I can grow in a Tower Garden, all of you can grow in a Tower Garden. And that's the mindset that I take when I'm sharing with people, because they might be a master gardener, they might love growing, or they might be like me and go, I kill every house plant. And I have people say that to me a lot, and I love it because I answer right back, me too. Ask my husband. We don't have houseplants in my house because I kill them all, right? So I get to make everybody feel at ease right away. And I think that's important to, you know, to be able to let people feel comfortable. There's a little bit of a learning curve, but it's the easiest growing you're ever going to do. And I think I've sold close to 50 Tower Gardens since we started. And I wish I had all the numbers on my team, and Priscilla's at a pastor's conference, or I would have her share tonight too, because she sold a lot of Tower Gardens. Priscilla Prather. But over the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you why you want to share them, why you want to share these Tower Gardens, who as a team we've sold Tower Gardens to, and how we've done that, and then some scenarios on income that you can do by opening this door in your business. Okay, so let's go to why Tower Gardens. Right now, why does everyone need them more than ever? Inflation. And I could have just put inflation and we could have stopped right there on why everybody needs them. But food inflation is outpacing inflation. And I know Kristen Nolan shared, we were talking, and she said produce has gone up 80% since November 2021. Okay, so that's less than 2 years for our produce to have inflated and cost that much. Wow. We have such a gift to give everybody. Because one thing I say to my potential customers is, I pay myself to grow. That Tower Garden is going to pay for itself in the first, well, I used to say a year. I know James Kaufman at Home Office says with inflation and the cost of food in 3 to 4 months. I'm a little more comfortable just saying, hey, in 6 months or less, if you're growing inside, you're going to have your Tower Garden paid for, right? So growing your own food is like printing your own money. I save my family so much money in our grocery budget every year, every month, because we grow off the Tower Gardens. And here's something, if you can remember this, for the cost of an iPhone, you can feed your family for a lifetime. Now, how many people do you know that have an iPhone or an Android, right? We all have those. So why not help your friends and people you know invest in a Tower Garden that's going to feed their family for a lifetime? All right, and you can read all the other reasons why you want to share this with others, but use every door in our business, right? Some of you, and I know I can look at my team on here and go, some came in the Tower Garden door, some came in the Juice Plus door, some came in the business door, right? But I have found that the Tower Garden has opened doors of conversations to people that I would have never been able to have a Juice Plus conversation with. In fact, Dee Dee, it's the reason why you're here, because Priscilla watched Andrea Gorham on social media posting about the Tower Gardens, and she followed her for a few months. They've been friends forever. She came in the Tower Garden door, and it took her a little while to embrace the Juice Plus side, but that's the door she came in, and she's been able to impact so many people and hundreds of lives through the Tower Gardens and schools, because that was a door that would open up. Okay, so know that everybody should be introduced to these amazing Tower Gardens. But that is going to open conversations you couldn't have. And it's great stimulus money. You know, those Tower Gardens, they do put a little punch into your paycheck. And I'm going to talk about some numbers here at the end. So who have we talked to? And I'm going to have a couple of my team members share a little bit too about who we've talked to. So schools, all of these are partners on my team. And so we've had a lot of fun I think schools are a phenomenal place to share tower gardens. And Mom, I'm going to have you unmute and come in and share how you get them funded for schools and how you start those conversations and the impact that you've been able to see with the tower gardens that you have in your schools in your community.
Well, I go around town with my hand out, and we have a very giving community. So it's really easy to go in, and I always take pictures of the tower. I take info on the tower and talk to somebody in a business. And I don't think I've ever had anybody tell me no. And I've had more than one buy a whole tower and several buy part of a tower. So the funding is, and then there are grants available. So funding a tower, for me anyway, is not a difficult thing. The kids love them. And one year I was at school and they were harvesting because it was right before Christmas. And one of the kids came out and he said, "Mrs. Ball, there is something on that tower I don't like." And I said, "Oh, really? Well, what is it?" "Well, I don't know." And I said, "Well, why don't you go ask the person that planted it?" And he came back because I was thinking all the time, arugula. And he came back and he said, "It's arugula," with his nose all turned up. And I said, "Well, now you know, when you go shopping with Mom and she's going to get arugula, you might want to ask her to buy something else to go along with it because you're not real fond of it." So if they grow it, they will eat it, whether they've had it before or not. So to me, it's an easy way to get kids to learn to like something if they grow it.
Awesome. Thank you, Mom. It is so fun to see teachers get excited. You'll see Priscilla's in this picture too. Andrew and I'm going to have Andrea share here in a minute. We did a field trip for hundreds of students came through and we got to talk about aeroponic growing and introduce them to this kind of growing and what the future might look like for them. So kids get excited. It's a hands-on tool. We've got lesson plans and PowerPoints. And in a minute, I'll talk about the Green Bronx machine curriculum. But here's some ways that Priscilla has used the tower gardens in her classroom and others. So you can see anywhere from culinary and nutrition to textiles. They colored clothing using foods grown off the tower garden. Food for animals. I've got a high school here who uses it in their science class where they have all of these critters. So they grow the food for their animals there. I've got a school that's a private school here in Kansas City. They actually have the tower garden in their cafeteria because they make all of their meals there. They've got a chef, so she loves it, uses it full of herbs and some lettuce for their lunchroom. And you can see everything from farmers markets to sustainability. Teachers are going to use them for math, for science. I've had it in an art room. There's all sorts of uses for the teachers to use them in their classroom. This is fun. So nonprofits and senior living, and Tasha, if you can unmute, I want you to share about this bottom picture and how you got them to even build this as they were building the building to build a site for those 2 tower gardens.
Yeah, that actually came about because I have one in my house. And at that time I had it in the living room. And one of my friends was here, and we had lots of people here in different activities or, different times we'd talk about Juice Plus. And she was the designer of that building. So she kept the idea of the tower in there till they were coming to the end and designing this kitchen area, which is super cool. It's available to the general public. We can reserve it. And I've actually taught some cooking classes there during COVID. We did them online. And so it's just a really neat way. This is actually hooked onto a coffee shop. And so people, it's well visited, I guess. And lots of people come in and check out the towers all the time. And the idea of this with that cooking is it's for, I didn't know I was talking, Kim, so I'm sorry, I'm not succinct, to help this community of people. I can't think of the word I want. get used to herbs and different flavors and stuff like that in their cooking, kind of a sensory thing as well.
There's a community
but
for people with disabilities.
Yes,
right?
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the name of the Disability Supports is the company. Anyway, so it's just been a really cool way for our whole community to get to see the towers.
Awesome. Thank you, Tasha. I know I'm put you on the spot, but I'm like, I love that you had a chance to have them actually get that built in. And you'll see Rihanna here. Rihanna also has them in assisted living here in Kansas City. And then my biggest sale was 10 Tower Gardens at one time, and that's for an inner city nonprofit that reaches hundreds of kids. And that's a picture of a few of them over on the far side, but they use them in their kitchen and their life sciences. They've even started a food truck. So the kids are growing basil and different things to put in recipes for that food truck. So it's really fun just to see the different places. So, kind of think outside the box and where might use them. Social media has been a great way for our team to showcase and to attract Tower Garden interest and customers that I know Rihanna said most of her Tower Garden sales have actually come from her postings and things like that on social media. And I know we've had some great social media trainings recently, even with Jamie a couple weeks ago. I'm not the expert by any means on social media, but even if you're doing some, so I want to give you a little encouragement to just do some, because even that little bit, the few reels that I've done, the ones that get the most engagement are the ones on the Tower Garden. And I have sold Tower Gardens from people seeing these posts. And I just think the Tower Gardens are such a showcase that they're so much fun to be able to show on social media. They grab people's attention. And so use them in your stories, make some posts, have some fun with that, and show people how easy it is. I think sometimes they can get intimidated thinking, oh, growing is going to be hard. So when they see you showing some of the process, it makes them see, oh, I could do that too. So social media has really been a great way to have those conversations. And then booths. We've had some fun pre-COVID, during COVID, and out of COVID. So you'll see one of these pictures. We actually had face shields on. It was like one of the first booths back that we got to do. And I'm going to have Andrea Gorham unmute because she's really had some great success selling Tower Gardens at booths. So I want her to share just a minute here of her experience with that.
Okay, yeah, booths are a fantastic way to sell the Tower Garden because, first of all, you have hundreds, even sometimes thousands of people coming through. And when you bring a Tower Garden and put the lights on, it's like a magnet. I mean, people just want to know what that is. Most people haven't seen how, anything grown like that. And they have so many questions. And, and then we get to share what an amazing thing it is to help us with our health and as all the benefits Kim has already shared, especially, with inflation and all that. So booths have been a great way and met lots of people. I've sold quite a few through booths. We've got a few opportunities coming up. We're going to do a few more this year. And yeah, they're awesome. I've even gotten team members, so it's good.
That's good. And I'm going to share with you in just a couple of minutes some of the process of what to take and how to transport those Tower Gardens, but really is a magnet. And this bottom picture down here with Tasha and I have to laugh. If you're whether you do a big booth or a little booth, if there's a chance to be a speaker, I encourage you to sign up to be the speaker, because this booth down here, Tasha and I our booth was at the back corner and the speaker stage was at the other end of a big expo hall. So what did we get to do? We got to take that Tower Garden, wheel it all the way down through this row of vendors, right? And people walking around, lots of comments, lots of conversation, wheeling it down there. And then of course, we came back a different aisle, right? So we get to see a whole bunch of other vendors and have conversations. And I mean, we were just laughing because we had so many conversations just from wheeling that to the stage to speak and back. So take advantage of any chance you have to get that in front of people. And then events in our homes, right? If you have a tower garden, you know, salad in a jar is an easy one to do. I'm always picking fresh lettuce and basil off the tower garden. People take the little field trip into my dining room and check that out. You know, so wine and wellness, you still have the tower garden growing in your house. Everybody gets to see it, right? And it's so helpful for them to see it. Whether you have the flex or the home, you know, but either one, as long as you've got one, it's great. You know, current customers, maybe they came in the Juice Plus store. Time to have that conversation about a tower garden and saving some money in their budget and getting to grow fresh quality produce. That's super easy. And then I have service providers. And what that means is everybody that comes in my house, whether they're building my fence, they're working on the air conditioner, you know, whatever, they get to see the tower garden. I usually have a great conversation with them. Even the last guy who came to move a piano out of my house has a lot of interest in the tower garden. So, you know, when people come in, it's eye-catching. So have those conversations and ask them questions. So here's some of the questions that I encourage you to ask to engage them in. You know, well, one, have they ever seen a tower garden? Because they usually go, what is that? You know, have you ever seen it? But, you know, what would they grow? What if you had a tower garden like this, what would you grow? Where would you grow it? Inside, outside? And helping people see where they would grow it. I've had people go, can I grow it in my basement? Absolutely. You can even grow it in your garage. If it's cold climate, you might need a little heater, whatever. But, you know, would they grow inside, outside? Would they do both? You know, get them picturing where they would put it in their house, right? And I will tell them the different places I've had it in my house. And I don't have a huge house, but, you know, I'll say, here's where I've had it. Where would you put this? And then how much do you spend a week on produce? Sometimes people don't know, but gosh, you know what? This is really inexpensive to grow this produce. And then after this first 6 months or so, now you're saving a lot of money. And then I'll also ask too, depending on the area, like, you know, do they garden, but are they a teacher or do they know somebody who is? Because then that starts a whole nother conversation as well. So let me share real quick here about some tools. And a big shout out to Robin Sick, who's in this picture, because she has started and leads for the last couple of years now a monthly peak tower garden chat. So it's the third Saturday of every month. And I don't have that Zoom number in here, but that flyer is in our team boards. And then every Saturday night, another group in the company does the tower garden call, and that password is in there. But it's super fun. You can see behind the scenes, mom sometimes is sitting on her tower garden, or she was here once at my house. Super fun. And these are for prospective tower garden customers, current tower garden customers, current Juice Plus customers to learn more, and even partners. I have learned so much. My husband is thrilled and so grateful that I learned about citric acid to clean the tower gardens on one call. So that was a game changer. Definitely made cleaning the tower garden so much easier. But I learned that from somebody else on the tower garden chat. So I highly encourage everybody to hop on, but invite your friends to come check that out. The hub. Okay, there's some resources on the hub I just want to direct you to. And if you go to, on the hub, if you go to resources, if you're looking up here in this section, you go to resources, go to the United States, go to tower garden. And then if you click on that, it opens up all of the tower garden resources. There's order forms, there's growing guides, it talks about the flex, talks about the home, schools, tower garden farms. There's a lot right there, okay? The other thing, if you want a little extra training, you go to this training tab on the hub, right next to our getting started. It's gonna open up courses like this. And there's actually 2 tower garden courses that can be really helpful if you go, gosh, I just wanna learn a little bit more. And learn a little bit more in the tower gardens and selling them, it's right here, okay? So that resource is there. Here's our official tower garden Facebook group. It's called the Growers Guild. And all of your tower garden customers, you'll want to have all of your tower garden customers in here. And you don't have to be the expert. So maybe you're new. Even though we've been growing on the tower gardens for 13 years now, and I've learned a lot, I still don't want to answer all my customers' questions, right? Like I want to send them to the resources because somebody there is going to be a lot better grower and have more knowledge than I do. And they're going to get those answers in there. So make sure you get all of your Tower Garden customers in here, and they'll be very thankful to you. Now, this app, I love this boards app, and it was a game changer when Andrea and Tasha and I were doing this booth this winter. Because of the snowstorm in Memphis, we didn't get our Tower Garden brochures. And I'll tell you what, using the page on boards was a game changer for us getting contact information. And actually, I think it worked better than the brochures because we got everybody's contact information back. So literally, I would take my phone, I would have it open to this Tower Garden page. And as you're talking to somebody and they wanted some information, I'd say, you know what, we're out of brochures, but here's what I could do. And I would just show a couple of videos, a little bit of the information that they would see on that board and go, you know what, I can send you this. They're like, oh, that's great. And so I would just turn it back around and go, okay, what's your number? I bet 95% or higher of the people easily gave me their name and number, right? Like nobody really qualmed at that at all. And I might not have even found out their name yet. So as I texted in their number, I'm like, okay, oh, and tell me your name. Oh, it's Tasha Hickert. Okay, great, Tasha. Here's some information about the Tower Garden. And I would just type that in while I was talking to them, as long as I had time, and send it to them right there. So I knew it went through. Now I have their name and their phone number all attached. And then I could go back and make some notes later when I had time. So huge, huge proponent of the boards app. Here's a new thing that I've been learning in the last few months using QR codes. I took Allison Porter's Savvy Academy. She's doing one right now. If you want to learn more using Project Broadcast and QR codes and different things. Andrea and I put this together the night before we had a big event, and I just learned the QR code. So it's a really basic one, but you can go to qrcodechimp.com. It's free. It's really easy to make a QR code. I was a little nervous. I'm like, oh, this is really easy to do. It doesn't take much knowledge, any knowledge at all. Just follow the directions and have your link. So I would highly encourage you to have some fun, try it out at a booth. We had these as handouts because it was a field trip with kids, so we weren't seeing the parents. But you could have this scanned up on posters at your booth at events so that people could scan that easier. All right. We talked a little bit about, who do you know? Who do you want to talk to? Teachers, school administrators, networking groups, Facebook groups, referrals from your Tower Garden customers, and those might be your next best partner, right? Church, gardeners, restaurants, and then we still have the Boys and Girls Clubs where we're trying to get Tower Gardens in every single Boys and Girls Club. So the how-tos of taking a Tower Garden to an event so that you don't make the same mistake I made. Because in the beginning, I thought, I'm not like Tasha, I'm not a horticulturalist. I've already told you, I kill every plant. And the first booth that I did when we had the Tower Gardens, it was in the winter and it was a big expo. It was cold out. It was really cold out. I killed all my plants from the car to the booth because they went outside in 30-degree temperature and they didn't like that. So after that, I thought, this is a lot of work. I'm not sure I want to do this. Well, thankfully, you learn a little bit and you learn from others. And I learned the trick of putting them in the cooler. So if you want to transport your tower and you can't keep the plants in your tower, if you put them in a cooler, they're insulated from the 100-degree temperature or the 30-degree temperature. They're going to be fine going from your car into the event and back. So that was a lesson I learned the hard way. Grow your plants in enough time so you have a variety of sizes if possible. And then at the booth, we don't fill up the whole tank. Take a 5-gallon bucket. You'll put that in the base of your Tower Garden. You'll put the pump in there and you'll just put enough water in to cover that pump. So you're not lugging 20 gallons of water all around. Take a couple towels. And what I learned in this past year, transporting for a Tower Garden for John and Betty Sue, is they leave their plants in. So I learned how to do that this past year, and that's really nice. And as long as they're not huge plants, and you've got a car that, like, I just took the base off, we leaned the whole tower part against the back of the seat, worked great, pulled it right back out, set it on top of the base, put the lights on, and we wheeled it into the event. So I've done that a few times now, and that makes it super easy. And then make sure you take the tonic and the rock wool and supplies. People want to see what that looks like. And then I have a Tower Garden notebook with pictures, so they can see a variety of outside things, zucchinis, tomatoes, different things that you might not have at that event. So that's a little bit of the how-to. So I encourage you, as you heard Andrea share, the Tower Garden and those lights really are a magnet for people coming to the booth. So it's worth the extra little effort to have the Tower Garden there. Well, let's have some fun. Let's talk about what you can earn with selling Tower Gardens. So I want you to look over here. This Nifty 50 is only good through the end of September. Okay, so it's still there. We've got 5 days left to be able to earn. So if you have not ever sold a Tower Garden before, or you have not sold one in the last 3 years, you'll get an extra $50 for the first Tower Garden sale. All right. But let's look over at the other side, because I want you to see what we always have. You'll see on a Tower Garden Flex, $155 retail. And on the home, it's $167.50 for the retail. Every time you sell a Tower Garden, you are getting that retail profit. Then you can see partner, QSC, and sales coordinator, why you want to move up the marketing plan, because you're going to add, you're going to get the 170, 186, or 200, over $200 for that flex if you're at the full commission. All right. So I encourage you all to get to sales coordinator and earn that full commission, and you can see the same numbers with the home. But right now, just for September, there's also the Sweet September 30 is what they're calling it. So for the first Tower Garden sale you have in September, the company's also giving you an extra $30. So let's say you are brand new today and you go, gosh, I want a Tower Garden. You get the $155 of retail. If you do a flex, you get the $50 and the $30. So that's $235 back on a flex. And if it's the home, it's $247.50 back. And that's without any of the commissions. So if you are brand new and you're having conversations about people who are looking at a Tower Garden, it would be in their best interest to come join you as a partner, right? And then turn around. Why not turn around and share with a couple or 10 more friends, right? And they get to do the same thing. So I wanted to just share that because, gosh, if somebody right now can earn back almost $250 savings on that Tower Garden home, on that Tower Garden, why wouldn't they do that now? All right, this one, I'm running out of time. So just know that the Green Bronx Machine curriculum is there. That's what's showing here is the cost for the school of the curriculum and the Tower Garden, but we earn back $150 for the curriculum plus the earnings back on the Tower Garden. So for every curriculum, you'll earn $150. And the cool thing is a school only needs one. They don't need multiple. They just need one curriculum for the whole school. Even if they have 10 Tower Gardens at the school, they just have to buy the curriculum once. So I'm going to real quickly just give you this little scenario. And we'll call him Max. And Max has been growing a Tower Garden for about a year. When his friends and family come to visit, they always admire and they ask to taste the vegetables he's growing. Max decides to be more deliberate about posting pictures on social media of his Tower Garden, including photos of himself picking vegetables from it, the recipes his family is using the produce for, and even a video now and then showing how it works and what he's planting. All things that we can do, right? Because of his consistent posting a few times a month on social media, he's been able to talk with several people each month about Tower Gardens, and he sold an average of 2 Tower Gardens each month for the past year. Max is a QSC, and these are his earnings from the activity that I just described. So here's his earnings. On those 12 Tower Garden homes, he's earned over $2,500. And from 12 Tower Garden Flexes, he's earned over $2,200. So almost $5,000 back in just those Tower Garden sales. And he's a QSC. So some of you are going to make more because you're SC, right? And I show that scenario just to be able to give you a little picture of what you can do and how you can add into your paycheck with sharing those Tower Gardens. All right, and I'm not going to cover farms, but I am in conversation with my first person on it, starting a Tower Garden farm. So that's been fun to really watch the process and start to see how that looks. And those are if you're going to have somebody who wants more than 10 Tower Gardens. And then that we have Tower Garden farmers with our company, and they're really going to do the work. And so we get a fee of that. But they're going to get some of that income too, because they're going to do the work. And trust me, just seeing all the questions that I've already heard in that process is not something I want to do, right? I don't have the knowledge. We don't have the knowledge. So we get to have experts in our company do that piece. And then I want to screenshot this if you want. These are resources for us on Tower Gardens that I found on the hub and I found in our sites. So there's a lot of resources and support for us. And I will say the Tower Garden office at home office is fabulous to work with. They are really good and they're knowledgeable and they will answer and get back to you. And I think I want to make sure I didn't leave anything out, because here really is the secret weapon, right? You're creating your own economy. Let's be the solution. Let's be the change, and let's take action for ourselves to be able to make this world a better place and help our friends and our communities get these Tower Gardens out there. But you must have one. The most important step in sharing the Tower Garden, which is the secret weapon, is that you must have one yourself and you must be growing on it. So thanks for letting me share tonight.
Oh, that was awesome, Kim. So much information packed in there and examples and pictures. That was just incredible. Thank you so, so much. One other little tip that I might throw in is just try to get people to do installment if they don't have a preference. If you're selling a lot of Tower Gardens, it can really change the dynamic of your checks. It's nice to even it out with installment orders. But this was incredible, Kim. Thank you so much. And congratulations to you and your team for sharing and selling so many. I mean, I feel so passionate that every home needs one of these, especially now, from the finance piece, but also just from the ability to grow organic in your home. It's incredible. So we don't have to worry about E. coli or any of that other stuff.
Yeah, and I see a shift in people realizing, oh wait, I want a little bit more control of my food supply than we saw 10 years ago, right? Like there's a lot more of those conversations happening. And thank you for that, because I know that national marketing director out of Canada, who has built his whole amazing team all on Tower Gardens. That's not the way my businesses or my team, but I know they do them all on installments, and schools may not, and that's okay. But yeah, if you're going to do.
Yeah, he said probably 95% of their volume is on installment. So, and to your point, because literally he's exploded his team to above national marketing director in just a few short years, almost all with Tower Garden. But now they also, that was the open door, and now they're all on Juice Plus as well. So that's becoming part of their business as well, even though he's leading with his passion for Tower Garden and the need for people to take control of their food. So it's a powerful message. It's a needed message. And once again, we've got a great solution. So thank you, Kim. Thank you, ladies, all of you. That was just incredible. I enjoyed it so much and we learned a lot. So thank you. Have a great night, everybody.
Night, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Kim.
Hi, thank you,
Jennifer.
Kim.
Thank you, Kim.
Thanks, team, for being on.
Thank you.